150 years ago, Scotland and England contested the first ever match of international association football here at West of Scotland Cricket Club in Partick, Glasgow. Fast forward a century and a half and these two nations meet for the 116th time, this time at Hampden Park, in a friendly match to mark the 150th anniversary of one of the most important milestones in world football history. This may just be a friendly match, but this is a fixture steeped in history involving a rivalry that has outlived football as we know it. For the lucky few who have experienced firsthand what this derby means, it simply does not get much bigger.
I mean, the games against England are just sensational, you know, like Scotland-England games, whether it be a friendly or whether it be a game in the Euros or a qualification game, they are extra special, you know, all the rivalry that comes along with it.
I think the Scotland-England games are unique. Yeah, I mean, I always said we could play England at Tiddlywinks and you'd want to beat them. That's the bottom line. So the rivalry is there. That will never change, and it's a great occasion.
I also wanted Scotland to do well. I still want Scotland to do well, but not on Tuesday.
However, England boss Gareth Southgate bizarrely admitted at his press conference this afternoon that he actually once supported the Scottish national team.
Well, my first memory is some of your mates nicking the goalposts at Wembley. So I'm back to 77. I mean, this is horrendous what I'm going to say here ahead of tomorrow, but I was supporting Scotland in 1978 because obviously we hadn't qualified.
Scotland will be without Elliot Anderson tomorrow night, who was named in the first team squad for the first time ahead of this camp. He left the squad last week after picking up an injury in training, but some quotes released today from Gareth Southgate indicated that the FA were still keen to persuade the Newcastle midfielder to pledge his international allegiance to his country of birth. The situation surrounding Anderson and the potential of adding Harvey Barnes to the Scotland setup is something that manager Steve Clarke will address before the next international break.
Probably the same comment is to think about that after. We want the best players we can possibly get. If they're eligible for Scotland and they've got a chance to play for us and they can improve the squad that I've got, which is not an easy thing to do. And I get all the story around it because we're playing England, so you want to speak about Elliot, you want to speak about Harvey. I quite like speaking about the boys that I've got because they've put us in a really good position and they deserve a lot of credit for that.
Steve Clarke will be hoping that Newcastle teammate and England international Kieran Trippier, who rates Anderson very highly, won't be able to persuade the youngster to commit his future elsewhere.
Yeah, as the gaffer said before, in pre-season he's been unbelievable. I think it was good for him last year to stay with us and not go out on loan again, to gain that experience. And he's a young lad, with great potential. Obviously, we've had talks, but like Gareth said before, he went away with Scotland. But ultimately, that's his decision. He's a young lad with great potential, so that decision's ultimately up to him.
There is perhaps nobody in Scottish football more qualified to deal with the challenges of a big derby match than Celtic midfielder Callum McGregor, who admitted that matches against the old enemy are similar to the Old Firm derby.
Yeah, probably much the same, to be honest. Like you said, that kind of Scotland-England rivalry, then it's a big game. You want to play in big games and try and give your absolute maximum as an individual and collectively, and again, that's the goal tomorrow night.
Of course, tomorrow night there is the added bonus of Euro 2024 qualification should Norway and Georgia draw. But for Steve Clarke, it's all eyes on England.